I believe that. I
we
believe that
lost.
happened in Vietnam. I believe that happened in Afghanistan. I don't know how to measure Iraq.
Korea was the last real loss we took, in my opinion. Korea, what happened?
Not Vietnam?
No, because we decided to lose Vietnam. Korea, the Chinese came and kicked us out. Like we lost Vietnam because we didn't want to. It's true. It's historical.
I'm waiting. Let's listen to him make his point.
We lost Vietnam because we decided not to win because the public weren't supporting the war. We didn't want to use the tactics that would have allowed us to win, like bombing the North. And they spent all that time deforesting the South and fighting in jungles against, Viet Cong. And we won. We still won every single battle. Like we decided the war was just not cool anymore. And so we stopped doing it. Korea, on the other hand, we got made to look like fools by the Chinese.
No, but not in Vietnam. We didn't look foolish.
No.
Do you know what the KD for Vietnam was?
Doesn't matter. We lost.
I don't see it that way. We don't play the objective.
We played we don't play the objective.
I'm just saying this is a very hindsight 2020 American History Channel take where it's actually we took our ball and went home, so there was no battle. It was a draw. And you could also make the case that they lost support for the American public for the war, but isn't that kind of part of maintaining the war? Is you have to make a case as to why you can rationalize that sort of spending to the public, and they could no longer do it. And so, if anything, we should have got out of there earlier.
I don't know what that has to do with anything. I just think that's a war that we chose to lose. If we wanted to win it, I mean, why didn't they start dropping nukes on the north part of the country, right? Or send 1 million men over there, or just keep grinding them away with bomb. We never bombed the north. I always go back to that, but it's just the truth. But in Korea, the Chinese just came down and just fucked us, all the way back to what is it, the 38th parallel or whatever? It was a humiliating loss.
What do you mean? And I'm sure you can educate me on this. So we didn't napalm in Vietnam, North Vietnam.
Oh, so I'm talking about the cities and infrastructure in the north, in their capital. What was the capital of North Vietnam? Is it
Hanoi?
Something like that.
Ho Chi Minh City.
They didn't bomb up there the way that the generals wanted to bomb. I think it was a political decision. I know a lot less about Vietnam than I do Korea, though. Korea is fucking wild.
I don't know anything like, about either.
The Chinese sent like 1 million. So like,
you know, I did an 18-page paper on the French involvement and the American involvement in Vietnam, and let me tell you, this dude named Adarn Westad wrote a large book, and I read it all, and I retained very little, but it didn't seem like he thought we won. So Adarn Westad, he was pretty adamant on the L we held. No cap.
Have we had a really big, like, no one can deny victory since World War II?
I think that was like, and also we kind of just stole the show there. We didn't really put in a lot of legwork.
That is true. We basically showed up like way far into it, and the UK's like, "Oi, bruv, we can't afford a war anymore," and we're like, "We'll loan you all the money."
Yeah,
if we
and you gotta pay it back,
forever, bitch. Yeah, and then we went in, and I mean, without America, they couldn't have won, right?
No,
like,
no. They definitely could, because the supply chain. It was basically like, you know, everybody was making a tank an hour.
I feel like we're forgetting about Japan. Like I think the Germans would have fallen, I think, without U.S. military intervention at all. I don't think we needed to send a single troop. I think a lot more Russians and Brits and French would have died in the long run. But I think that they could have won without us probably there. We definitely needed to keep sending them money and materiel, though. But I don't know what happens in the Pacific if we don't island hop across the biggest ocean in the world and just fuck shit up the whole way. The Pacific is the coolest part of the war. Everybody
principally attacking. Like, it was the rape of Nanking. Like, they were going to mainland China. It was that the biggest of their focus there. In the Western theater. They had 7 to 8 million troops scattered throughout the region at the time of the surrender. So there were guys who had been away for so long they didn't know what had happened back home. Like they came home to rubble. They were all over the region, though, from the Philippines to China, and like butting up, getting close to Russia. They had conquered an enormous swath of land there. But if you look at their reasoning, this is getting real History Channel and boring. I'll stop.
I was engaged. If you look,
I'm interested.
It was like a video game, right? Where you're like, we don't have enough iron. Like we just don't have it. Like when you play Civ sometimes, like you just don't have iron or oil or wood or whatever. It's like, all right, well, I'm fucked. Like I might as well quit.
That's why Russia's so good. They start
or I could go take Woody's fucking wood. Woody's not even looking. All right, bow. Woody's wood is mine, and that's what they did, like sweeping across the region.
There's your mistake.
They needed oil.
Stop playing with his wood.
They needed
oil. My notice.
They needed oil. They needed timber. They needed rubber. Like they needed those things, and they didn't have them in the amounts that they wanted them.
Well, maybe we'll get them next war.
We got them last war.
Maybe we'll round two.
No, not World War II. I was talking about the whole scope
Vietnam
of wars.
Too.
Instead of Afghanistan, next war we'll bring it home. Bring home the gold.
I think you're wrong about this winning wars thing. I think that we have
loser talk.
Sounds like somebody who's been beat back geopolitically.
Hi, I'm an incel, and I think you're a little hung up on getting laid.
It's just like all right. So like we were at war with the Al Qaeda, right? Like
yes.
I mean, we got the guy that ran the thing. Isn't that a W?
I mean, we won that battle, but not the war.
Oh, now it's battles and wars.
I guess it depends. You know what we need to do? More clearly define achievable goals, and then if we achieve them, call it a win.
I really agree.
Yeah, but when you can always,
agree with you.
But when you always change your achievable goals, like if Russia's goal was to, conquer Ukraine in a blitzkrieg in 4 days, and then they change it to just to secure like Donbass region of the east. Like, does that make it a loss if they ended up with a net positive but didn't achieve their initial goals? Like, it's gonna be hard because it's really the only people that get to decide if you win or not are the people that are involved.
Yeah, I think after Vietnam or during the talks to quit Vietnam, it was like peace with honor or something like that. Looking for a way to say, all right, we're fucking done, but not look bad at the same time.
Yeah,
it was a picture of an American GI with his pants down, ass spread. It's okay. They're all elderly now. No one's gonna care. They don't know YouTube's around.
Those were American heroes.
They gaped their ass for the U.S.
Dude, I feel bad for those guys. Like they must have gone into it like we're gonna come back like our uncles and parents and we'll be heroes because they saw World War II and everything, and then they come back and people spit on them. Yeah, which is
call them baby killers.
And think about that. You get torn out of your life, drafted, forced to fight a war that you don't want to fight, and then you come home and people spit on you. And it's like you're a trash person. Like that's just wild. And they knew at the time they got drafted in, right? Everyone knew. Yeah.
Oh. Well, no, not everyone was drafted.
Yeah, but
a lot of them were.
Had to be
some people may have joined because
what did they do to incentivize joining before they could give out Camaros?
Because I just a day of the year, and every male born in a certain year on that day had to go in the next few days and register. So they'd be like, April 6th, if you're born in April 6th between 1948 and 1952, show up at your local,
that's awful. I'd shoot myself in the foot.
You didn't know that? That's how they did it. Lotteries. So like
birthday
5
lotteries.
Different birthdays would come up every couple weeks, and if you were one of those birthdays, you were in Vietnam.
No, there's no way.
Lottery number. I didn't realize it was birthday based.
Birthdays.
I didn't know that until I read about it. It's interesting.
My dad told me some story about that once because he's 1953 in April, and he was like, I think maybe he said it was the day next to his day was like one of the came up, and it was like, and I'm like, I asked him once, I'm like, would you have gone? Would you have gone and to Vietnam? And he's like, there was no question. If they come and they load you up in a truck and they fucking take you, like what am I gonna do? Go to Canada? I don't know anybody in Canada. This is my home. Yeah, so you go.
I want to read this. 2/3 of the U.S. military who served in the Vietnam War, and more than half of the names on the wall, volunteered for duty. The other 1/3 were drafted primarily into the Army. Beginning in 1969, draftees were picked via televised lottery based on the date of birth. Okay.
A third.
Yeah.
Catch me sitting there with my boys drinking heavily, waiting for them. Like, come on, this is the worst Powerball ever.
And there were a couple ways to beat the draft, right? One was like
the Ted Nugent.
The Ted Nugent is hilarious. He literally pooped himself. I made him seem crazy, and they didn't.
Listen, I would.
There's
feel
the
confident.
Donald Trump where he had a doctor that was a friend of the family who said that he had bone spurs, right? So that was a way. But another way was to go to college. And then, if you can get accepted
Well,
into college,
I'm
there's
not
a
getting
student deferment, stuff like that. And I think there was another one too, but there were a couple ways to dodge.
Probably some family-based stuff that made you less likely, maybe.
There was a family-based one, but to Woody's point, I was going to bring up the other one because that's how my grandpa got exempted. If you were a farm worker who was like if you worked on a farm and like did stuff like livestock raising or like and you were deemed to be like indispensable to the running of that farm,
you were part of the war effort.
They took you out of it and were like, you are worth more working on this farm, raising cattle or raising livestock or raising crops than you are with the war effort. And so he got a notice about that.
Where I was headed with that is it became kind of class-based. Like some of these things, going to college, working on a farm, owning a farm, like it's the unemployed. It's the,
we send our poor to die.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just poor. Like my grandpa didn't own a farm. He just was a worker on a farm who, like, he was 22 years old. He didn't have running water.
Taylor,
like it was just an amount.
You're invalidating my argument.
Oh, sorry.
We don't want your anecdotal evidence to the contrary of Woody's point.
But yeah, there were some, maybe being a parent. I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, there were some class-based things that let you avoid the draft. And like Tucker said, we sent our poor to war. So probably won't do that again. I think we're a little more hip to that.
Eventually we will.
No, every country in the world sends their poor to war. The next time we need to send people to war, it will be poor people. When it's time to snatch people and draft people, the same thing will happen. It will be poor people. There will be ways to get exemptions, and the poor won't be able to come up with them. It'll always be that way. It has always been that way for all eternity.
Kind of point. Like that's why that's large reason of why the army is built off of like reliable pay, food, and housing. Like that's like it's like, oh, you can't get it elsewhere. Well, look at this. It's not good, but like you get it. So all the way back.
I hadn't looked at it through that lens, but I so completely agree with you.
That's another reason why I say we've never lost a war.
And housing. Those three: reliable food, pay, and housing.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like, don't people point to a lot of like repeat offenders as a reason for them to go back to jail with nonviolent crimes is to have a structured place like that to live. And I mean, like that's also a definite draw to the other one.
So in my little universe, I've seen adults, parents encourage their kid to go into the military when they think they need that structure. Right. So you're sort of talking about how the kids might opt into it because I'm
talking about a need using the military as like because it really is. If you're looking at it, your likelihood to see combat as a United States military serviceman right now, like probably the lowest it's ever been. Right. We lost how many people in the 20 years of Iraq? Like your likelihood of dying in a conflict. Like we're looking at how war is changing and stuff. Like I see a lot. I had a lot of friends of mine who pre-pandemic were working in the music industry. I say a lot. I mean literally 2. But that's a lot versus 0 my whole life, right? That went to the military. He was like, why would I not go get stationed? I'm Korean American. Why would I not go get priority station back in Korea and get paid for it and do menial tasks over there until like things settle down? And I'm like, oh, yep, okay, that's an outlet that a lot of people find themselves in.
And something that like you saying that brought it up in my mind, like just kind of realizing this now, like a lot of the people who are like brought in like grunts, like army, like that in like Vietnam, that would have been like the draft people. Like, and I'm like, we don't have a draft now, but I'm sure this kind of carries over is like the people, like I know a friend who's very high up in the Marines, I'll say, like he went on special missions and stuff. And he is a guy who like his whole life, he wanted to be a Marine. He had toys of Marines as a kid. Like you asked that kid at 7 years old. I remember because we went to 1st and 2nd grade together, all those schools. Everyone else was like, I want to be a police officer. I want to be a dinosaur. And he's like, I want to be a U.S. recon Marine. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, a recon Marine, like a scout Marine, like a sniper. And it's like, you're 6. What are you talking about? And he was obsessed with that his whole life. And so like, I imagine that a lot of these like creme de la creme, like elite guys, like the SEALs, it's not someone, it's not like it's not like a Captain America where some loser comes in and they're like, you happen to be the best Marine of all time. Like, no, these guys like want to be the tippity top and they train for it. It's like the backfill of the bulk that is like people who don't want to be there.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
I don't know what the death rates are like, but I would actually imagine a lot more of the operation teams die by
you will
percentage.
probably get we will probably get